Things come. I had been reading before, I pointed out the other day, The Path of Blessing. And I was so astounded because they described the creation story the same way I received the my own personal creation story. But they do it from the point of view of the creator, whereas I received my creation story where I began as the other that was created because Source wanted an other. Of course, the other doesn't understand what's going on. They're feeling and flowing and blah, 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 and sensing and perceiving. Like, okay, something else is responding to me here. What I do, you know? Alright, what do I look like? You know? I wonder what I look like. What's provoking all of this, you know? And then, boom. Whoa, no, you know, like a newborn baby coming out, and no. So, from the Jewish perspective, it's light, and the light is a barrier, and they're describing it, and my brain's just like, not okay, so that there be light, and then they were separating, and so that light is supposed to be a barrier between God and creation, and I'm reeling from reliving the trauma of becoming conscious, because that's what I do. I become one with a concept or idea that's being expressed to me. That's why I know that things are as they're described. They're all that bad. I understand heresy. I understand, you know, I get the concept and the seriousness of it. But the vehemence and distaste, the hatred, and those heretical Christians, and the, you know, the traitor to their people, and everything is just the hatred all the time. Like, yeah, I can't be around that. So anyways, I had to put that book down. But I'm still struggling, like, this light concept. Where does this fit in? How does this fit in? Because the light of the sun and the moon and the stars that govern day and night aren't put in until the fourth day. And so what is this day and this night, this light and this dark that are alternating to create the days of creation until there are stars and the moon, which the sun is the morning star. It's the one that rises in the morning. It's our morning star. So I know I already mentioned that in another video. Like, drop that off. And what pops up on my recommend feed, but the Ashkenazi Jew out of Canada, whose videos I watch, it's on Hanukkah. You okay? I just made all the list of the date, the feast days, and I had wondered about, like, because I read through, Moses being given the law and the feast days that they're supposed to, and Hanukkah wasn't anywhere in there. So I'm like, should they even be celebrating this? Like, or is this just another, Pharisaical, Sadduceical tradition here, rabbinical thing? I don't know. So I'm watching the video. They're not even allowed to know where Hanukkah comes from. I haven't reread Maccabees, so I don't know. Oh, I do know why. Alright, so we're gonna get to it. It's another reason. So, oh good grief. They don't allow the book of Enoch. So it was part of the Torah, but it was removed because, well, Christians would try to reason with them that Enoch was a man, became angelic, and was given a throne in heaven, and a name, one of God's names, was bestowed upon him. So why is it so hard to believe that the Messiah, this great prophet that was foretold to Moses, would come forth and say only what the Father gave him to say? And if a prophet like Enoch, and one like Elijah, who also became an angel and was given one of God's names, why is it so hard to believe that it wouldn't have happened to Yeshua? And so they took the entire thing of Enoch and anything related to it right out of the Torah. The calendar, the Jubilees calendar, that was in the book of Jubilees. They don't include the book of Jubilees either, because when they took out Enoch had the calendar in it, so anything that reinforced that calendar had to go. They took it all out, just out of the law. Because the Jubilees calendar is the year with fewer days in it, and God said to Enoch, these are the number of days, and with this calendar, your Shabbats and your feast will always fall on the same date and the same day of the week. And don't worry about don't worry about the extra days, because the seasons will follow your celebrations, your feasts. That's the organization. You do this, the seasons respond. All the elements in the seasons respond in accordance. And then these other days might be going on outside of time, where I've experienced the skipping of a day, the occurrence of 2 days. Like, don't pay attention. They lit a torch whenever the new moon was spotted. They'd light a torch and everybody'd see the torch and go, oh, new moon, time for a festival, time for this, time for that. That's the way it worked. Like, before clocks, they used to have somebody with a stick, not in the Jewish tradition, but, other cultures as well. that, when it was time to go to work, when society became industrialized, somebody with a stick would go through town and tap on everybody's window, play the alarm clock, because they just happen to be really intuitively in tune with the elements in the day and the sun rising and sun setting. Like me, just before sunrise, I start to wake up. Just before sundown, I start to, feel like going to sleep. Now I'm in fake light and I got this thing keeping me distracted, so I don't do it. So they took out Enoch, they took out Jubilees, they took out the book of Maccabees that explains why the celebration of Hanukkah. So, watching the Jewish man's video, and he's talking about they don't know why. They don't know why they celebrate Hanukkah. But there's something about the menorah candles, they cannot use those to light anything else in the house. So like on the Shabbat, you have your one candle, and you could use that to light other candles so you can go into other rooms, whatever you're doing. You could use it. Whatever. Oh, I gotta melt this piece of wax and put a seal on this, because whatever. You can do that. You can use that candle. But not the menorah on Hanukkah, during Hanukkah. No. That is a very special light. And so they associate it, and I'll put a link to the video down below, to that initial light. And that light, how did he phrase it? It gives people and beings the ability to see through space and time. And so Adam had that light, and they were made up of this light, and then the downfall, that light got covered, and first he says God made him the leather. Then he says that no, their skin became fleshly, and God couldn't, see the light that they initially were. And so God wasn't asking, where are you? He was saying, where is that light? The original creation light. And then that was transferred to Enoch. Who else would it maybe have been transferred to, that it could be used to support that one as the prophet who was to come and then be the Messiah? Gee, I wonder. But okay. So of course they worship the god of science. And so he goes into this big, how is this scientifically supported thing, and quotes all these scientists and top psychologists, and anything non-Jewish, doesn't matter. Words doesn't have to come from scripture, just scientific. And what else did I get out of that? But again, that light, and I've been reading that light, and while I was, he's going through all of that explanation, it was just revealed to me, the light is understanding. And the more understanding we have, the less corruptible we are. And when we reach perfect understanding, we become incorruptible. So that was the first light. And 2 Enoch describes the creation. in more detail. They would know what this light was if they were allowed to read Enoch, which explains source, creator, began to imagine what it wanted to create, and all that imagining was contained, the building blocks for it, in this being of light. And then there was another being that was of darkness, and he said, to the being of light, give birth, let there be light. Let us understand what it is we have created. Release this. Let's perceive this. Let's understand this. Let's let understanding exist here. And then he told the being of darkness, separation, to burst forth what it contained. And he made that being of darkness a boundary, a border for the light. Let there be light. Let there be darkness. The first day. What a precious gift that I'm given to understand these things. So now, of course, I watch this video, and the next one pops up, and it is Mr. Rude, and it's R-O-O-D, but there's a bit of rudeness going on with the new format within the past year. I didn't watch it, I just started watching it, but it was the older ones, and then the ones from this year, it has a rude interruption. They call it a rude interruption, R-O-O-D, but it is rude, because in the middle of his speaking, it's, a solicitation for donations, something like whatever. I don't watch. I fast forward through all that stuff. So, but again, I go from the Jewish man and the heretical Christians, and this is why it's not there, to the man, excuse me, the Jewish man going about this rabbinical Jews, the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and help me not tune completely out, because I know there's information here. Okay, so Hanukkah is mentioned in the New Testament. That is the Feast of Dedication, where it is during this feast where the Israelites celebrate that light. I forgot Maccabees. So the reason that Hanukkah became a feast day was because the Israelites, once again, had left their God, turned to pagan ways, and they became overrun, conquered by the most powerful military force the world had ever known. And on December 25th, in honor of the sun god, they would slaughter the Jewish children, hang them from the walls. They sacrificed a pig for Christmas, the celebration of their sun god, on the 25th, on the altar, and totally destroyed and overran the place. So what was left of Israel, repented, wanted to return to being in covenant, return to obeying the law. And so they went through this whole process to dedicate themselves, come into covenant with Yahuwah. And because they did that, he had promised anybody who turns around and repents that he would pardon their sins. And so they took on the greatest military force the world had ever known without any weapons. And Yahuwah delivered them from just this horrendous slaughter. Horrendous. But Mr. Root goes into the details, so if you want to hear about it, watch right on through. I mean, that's all you gotta say. I've seen enough of the world and demonic activities and everything to know exactly what he means. But if you don't, listen to it. Go read the book of Maccabees. So they institute Hanukkah, and Yeshua, he's has sent 70 disciples out, 70 representatives, 70 nations, 70 sacrifices on Sukkot on behalf of the nations, 70 disciples. There's words. And of course, Jewish people are very much into gematria, and it does work out in so many ways. But again, we do not make a religion of these things. We worship our Creator. That is where perfection lies. That is where, because I saw this guy, he did this demonstration. There were squares. It was 6 across, 6 down, 6 across, 6 down, or up, down, whatever. And in the middle were 4 squares, and he had candy sweets in each square, and 4 extra in the center. And he moved one to create a vacant spot, took one out, and you'd count, and it was still 6 by 6 by 6 by 6 candies. Until all 4 extra, but somehow it's 6 this way, 6 this way, 6 this way, and 6 this way. But there are 4 more added to it. I don't even try to wrap my mind around it. See, this is what I'm talking about. Math, numbers, it's a religion. No. So, 70, he sends the apostles out, and they come back. And, they're talking, rejoicing that they were able to cast out demons. And he's like, no, rejoice that your name's in the book of life. And so then he goes up for the Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah, the Feast of Lights. And that is where he declares himself the light of the world. Which light? That initial light that lit up all of creation, that brought consciousness, awareness, perception, understanding to all of creation. And in the first video, I'm going to put the link down there, he mentions where is it? So in Job, that Genesis, the first light, is the light that is spoken of in Job when he says that the light was taken from wicked people. And when he said that, that's when the revelation came to me that light was understanding. That's when it was like, connected the dots. But for some reason, this great teacher who's an expert in math and sciences does not put together that he just spoke of the light of the world being the light taken from evil people. And this is why it is such an intense gift that I'm given to understand these things. Who am I? I'm an old lady who rebelled against God because I got creation's perspective of coming to consciousness, okay? Coming to age as a creation of an all-powerful, strong-willed being who will have everything their way and just get to it. You ain't got your stuff together yet, you know. I ain't had my coffee. Don't do it to me. Don't do it. What you do it to me? Can we talk about it? Because after a few moments of silence, coffee, you know. So, yeah, who and what am I? And that's probably the point. We're always told that's the point. Like, I'm a foolish thing of this world. Absolutely foolish. And it's just clicking for me like, woohoo, easy. Now it's funny because intellectual knowledge and understanding used to come to me like that quick. Just like this kind of like getting it intuitively. I just memorized things like crazy. I had a very strong masculine spirit in me. Thankfully that was removed. Woo! But there was a time that I could have, but then my brain's just it's just I survived high school and I was done with it. Like, that's it. Ooh, it fried my brain. Memorization, like, that's a form of abuse. Like, I hate to say it. Repetition in order to accomplish something that you want to accomplish and that is useful, like developing a good healthy habit, that's one thing. See, everything is good when it's in its appropriate place, being used appropriately at the appropriate time. Repetition's good. It develops a muscle. It's good. But forced repetition in the mind to shut a child off from the imagination and the intuition and creating in them an inclination to rely on this religion, this false absolutism of absolutely everything, that is intellectual abuse. It's intellectual abuse. Like, forget it. Emotional abuse, top to bottom. That's why the culture of America, Western culture, is called throughout the world the culture of rape. That was grape. I said grape. I forgot. YouTube does things because of words. I'm not worried about it. I've said bad words on here. They're emphasis words. They're punctuation marks. Okay. And can you tell I just totally get into all of it? I hope you like listening to passionate people. I'm passionate. So, yeah. The whole light thing, like, It is just so full of scandal. Everything. And Maccabees, man, it just clicked again. One of the things that these pagans who sacrificed Jewish children and a pig on the altar to their sun god on December 25th, they burnt all the books of the law, all the scrolls, all the everything. Anything that had to do with the law, they destroyed it. The reason for Hanukkah, the renewing of the covenant, life-saving. And then what do they do when that light is returned to them? They destroy the law themselves. They burn the books themselves. They just take it right out. Nope, no Jubilees, no Enoch, no Maccabees. No. They destroyed the Torah themselves. Whoa. That's some pretty nuts stuff. Okay. But now, the light has come back into the world. And we see him in the clouds. You know, I'm willing to, there's probably an original translation that does not say in the clouds. It says in the scriptures repeatedly that people will receive visions in their sleep, and that is God talking to them. Visions in the clouds. Like, what you doing? You got your head up in the clouds over there, daydreaming. Holy crap, that just came to me. Thank you, Yahuwah. Daydreaming. There you go. Yep. Yahuwah Elohai of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Elohai of the living has returned. Or he's just so close that those emanations are hitting me early, just like they always do. Go figure. Paving the way. There you go. We're paving the way. We're making the way for him. Just, this isn't going to be the first time you heard it. You know it's coming. It's that close. It's coming out my mouth. Get yourselves ready. Go find all them books. Go clean out them fields. Woohoo! Okay, I think I covered the topic quite thoroughly. The light of the world. Awesome.